Hey guys, welcome to today's video. I am going to be filling you in on what's been going on here on our homestead, the problems we've been having with our chickens. It's kind of been a long process. It's been a few weeks that we've been kind of working on this problem we've been having. So I'm just gonna start at the beginning and fill you in. So we have a chicken coop and we have two sets of chickens in it. We have some chickens that are like 24 to 26 weeks old, and then we have a set of older chickens that a friend of ours gave us that they didn't want anymore. So we have two age groups of chickens, let's say that. So the younger chickens are starting to get into laying age. So they're not, some of them are there, some of them weren't there yet. They were smaller. The other girls were starting to fill out and look feathery and just look more like a lady. And yeah, so anyways, about 3 weeks ago, I had a chicken start having problems walking. She kind of like looked drunk. She looked real stumbly. And I separated her from the other chickens. I contacted the breeder that I got her from. I contacted my vet, and we've honestly been just keeping an eye on her. We've given her probiotics. I've given her apple cider vinegar. We've given her all sorts of things, making sure she didn't have any deficiencies, that none of the bigger birds were not letting her eat. So she was nice and healthy other than this issue with her legs. And so she would stumble, and as the days went on, she was having her wings were droopy, you know? So one leg would be going in one direction, another leg would be going in the other direction, and her wings almost hung off her body. They didn't stay tucked up. And she could pull them up and she could tuck them, but they wouldn't stay that way. So we also checked her feet, we checked her nails, we checked her legs to make sure that she hadn't jumped off, you know, anything, you know, a tree. She hadn't fought with any chickens. She didn't have any other ailments. So I reached out to my vet and we were monitoring the chicken. We live in Florida, so we contacted the state of Florida's places in Kissimmee, Florida. So my vet contacted them, and we kind of looked into what it would be to have testing done. My vet suspected it was Mareks Disease, which is a type of herpes that the chickens get that causes them to have paralysis in their legs and arms or wings. And unfortunately, the chickens that I got, the younger ladies, I had 8 of them originally, and I don't have 8 anymore. I have 4. So we've lost several birds, but they were unknowing to me because this is my first set of birds. They are not vaccinated. I reached out to the breeder, and the breeder just kind of said if they had Mareks disease, they would have died. So they've lived to as long as they were, so it definitely wasn't Mareks disease that had killed them. And that's an unfortunate thing. Going forward, I will definitely only be purchasing vaccinated chicks. They have to be vaccinated before they're hatched or a day old. You can't vaccinate them now. So it's I would say very, very important to me now, having gone through this, that my chicks be vaccinated. And that was, you know, on my fault for not knowing. But we've lived in our house for over 6 years. Nobody's ever had chickens on our property. We don't have any livestock other than our dogs. And I don't know how they got in contact with it. They were free ranging through our yard, but there's no other animals in our area to come in contact with it. But I definitely think it's Mareks disease, because it's kind of just gotten passed on bird to bird to bird. On our littler birds that weren't quite full grown, if that makes sense. Definitely before laying age. And we've lost several, and it's super sad and super unfortunate, and we've had to call them because they're suffering, because we don't want them to suffer, but we also don't want this to be passed on to our other chickens. So we currently have 6 chickens, 4 of the originals and 2 of the older group that we were given, and it's super sad. I don't think that I could have prevented it other than having the vaccination done, or getting chicks from a vaccinated, like Murray McMurray, the hatchery, that's where I'll be ordering my chicks from now on, because they vaccinate their chicks. And to me, that's a priority, because after losing all of these birds, it's really, really a terrible, terrible thing. But anyway, we reached out to the state of Florida. You can have your chickens tested by the state of Florida. They deal directly with the veterinarian, and I have a good friend that's a veterinarian, and my veterinarian for, sorry, there's a big truck going by, my veterinarian for the last 13 years, my oldest dog is 13, so I reached out to her, and she has a lot of experience with all sorts of animals. She's not just like a cat and a dog vet, she's an all-around vet, and plus she has a goat farm, so she's got all of the things. And so she definitely thought we were dealing with Mareks, so she reached out to them, and she kind of gave me the options, and it was not cheap. You can have them do an autopsy of the bird. I think it's called a necropsy, where they send a part of the bird to the place and have it tested. There's also a blood test that they can do, but it's not as, they can't test for Mareks that way. They can test for other bloodborne pathogens, but not Mareks. And then you can do, yeah, it just was hundreds of dollars to have these tests done. And honestly, I didn't have it in my budget. I think that it's kind of hard to put that kind of money towards, if it affects all of my other birds, if this kind of goes through and affects all of them, I will definitely maybe look into having the testing done, but there's no cure. So if I do spend the $300 for the test, that doesn't change the outcome of the situation, unfortunately. It's just a scary, scary thing to have going through your chicken coop. And I love all my chickens. My chickens are all wonderful ladies, and they like love me, and I call them and I hold them and I pick them up and I pet them, and they're really my friends, and I love them. So I would have never put them at risk for something like this, you know. And I just think that I was ill-informed. My breeder did not inform me of anything that I had to worry about with free ranging my chickens. They knew I was going to free range my chickens. That was never a secret. So thus far, we've lost a couple of chickens. We're down to 6 chickens, and we have created a pen around their chicken coop to limit their exposure to the possibility of coming in contact with this bacteria and or virus. And so we're doing our best. We've kind of cleaned the coop, and I've put down diatomaceous earth, and I've sprayed everything with apple cider vinegar, and I've tried to keep my girls nice and healthy, and they stay in this area so that they do not come in contact with any of the other chickens that were separated, or maybe anything that in my yard that I don't know about. Maybe there's an animal that's coming in my yard that I don't know about. But we've never had chickens or anything of the sort here on this property. So it's really, really unfortunate circumstances. But we've lost a couple of birds, and we've had to make hard decisions. And I wanted to put this video out so that hopefully, when I was looking for information, there wasn't a lot. So what I would do if you were in this situation is reach out to a veterinarian. If it's your veterinarian for a dog, reach out to them, and maybe they'll point you in the direction of who to get in contact with that can handle chickens. And they can reach out to your state, and they can get in contact with Florida Fish and Wildlife or whatever service takes care of that. And maybe they can get you testing. I don't know what it is in your state. Like I said, I'm here in Southwest Florida. You know, or maybe you're going to have to make a hard decision. But, you know, ultimately my healthy living birds are my main priority, and the comfort of the bird, because the birds were suffering. They were eating, they were drinking, but they couldn't walk, and they couldn't. It just was sad. It just is really, really, really sad, fast disease, and it's just very, very unfortunate. So I really hope that this video has informed you. I hope that this video is helpful to you. I hope that you know that, you know, there are other people in your shoes. I don't know if people talk about this disease. You know, maybe it's kind of like one of those things that you don't want to share, you know, that you've had problems with your birds and this disease. I know a lot of people lose birds and it's a pretty normal thing, and they don't know what it was that killed them, but they're dead, and that is what it is, and they just kind of move on. But I want to make sure that we are treating our animals, you know, our animals are pets. They're not live, you know, they're not livestock. I'm not eating them for meat. They're providing me eggs, and I'm providing them a nice healthy home and food and all of that stuff. So I just want to be the most knowledgeable I can going forward, and I want to make sure you're the most knowledgeable you can be moving forward. So I am trying to be an open book and share with you my struggles through this process. So I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below or send me a DM on my Instagram page, which is Florida Homestead Mama. And I would love to answer any of your questions. I've talked to a few ladies on a few pages that have had this problem. And I've kind of, you know, sometimes you think you're doing something wrong and you're not. You're doing everything that you can. And we're just dealing with the situation the best that we can. So thank you again for watching. I apologize for my crazy dogs in the background, but you know, I'm trying to film this video with my kids sleeping inside. I've got chickens and 3 dogs. So this is homestead mama life at its finest. Whether it's kids or animals, there's never a dull moment around here. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.